phone. Which one's the unmute?
No, you're good. I got you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can hear you.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Let's go. Let's get with it.
1 second. How about a whole bunch of exclamation marks to them? Okay. All right. It's 7 o'clock. Perfect. All right. I'd like to call to order the Groveland Township regular board meeting for May the 9th, 2022. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And please be seated. Okay. And Janelle, would you take roll call?
Devon,
Yes, I'm here.
Pat,
Here.
Bill,
Here.
Christopher,
Here.
Lindsay, here.
Okay, everybody should have received a copy of the agenda for tonight. And if so, are there any questions or comments on it? It looked okay to me. Not, if it's okay, somebody needs to make a motion to approve it as submitted.
I'll motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Any questions from the board? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it's approved. Also have approval of the minutes now for the April 11th meeting. Everybody should have a copy of that. I looked at those too. They looked all right to me. Anybody have any questions? If not, a motion to approve would be in order.
I will make a motion to approve the Groveland Township Board regular meeting minutes for April 11th, 2022.
Is there a second?
I'll support.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, and we need to do the fire board meeting for the same day.
All right, I will move that we approve the Groveland Township Fire Board regular meeting minutes for April 11th, 2022 as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll support.
Patty, okay, any questions or comments from the board? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, we're off to a good start. Financials. First item is budget amendments. Patty?
No budget amendments. Still too early in the year.
It's always refreshing.
Good thing.
Always refreshing.
So the accounts payables were for 101, $19,701.15. And for 206, they were $23,820.56. So my motion is to approve the accounts payables as submitted.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Teresa, okay, any questions or comments from the board? If not, would you take a roll call, please, Janelle?
Pat,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Devon,
Yes. Okay, next item is financial reports for general fire and building funds.
Revenue and expenditures, they, as it, you can see, it's too early in the year to be, need any budget amendments. So they are where they should be. So my motion is to accept the revenue and expenditure financial report for period ending April 30th, 2022. As
Okay.
submitted.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Not, all in favor? Aye, all opposed, okay. Then we move to investment reports. Teresa?
Sure. So you guys got your investment report. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, it was not done
That's
until
okay.
today
Looks
because
fine.
Oakland County did not send their information until today. And it looks like we have increased by $1 million, but that is a little misleading because that is our 2021 tax collections, which was
Not
recently
released, though,
moved.
so.
Right, it was moved from the state bank where it's deposited and settlement was finalized. And then I put each township's portion in the township's account at Oakland County LGIP, and the fire department's in theirs. So that of course goes for operating budgets for this current fiscal year. And also in the 701, we still have our ARPA money sitting there that has been targeted and earmarked for certain things as well. So
The first half of it though.
the first half of it is still sitting in there. Yes.
It's the proverbial check is in the mail from the government.
Yeah. So that's our financials at this point.
There, any questions or comments on? Not, thank you for the report. It's okay to me. Okay, moving on, we have nothing under presentations for tonight, so we're going to move right into public hearing. And I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:05. This public hearing is to deal with the updated marijuana ordinances that we have. I'll try and recap this in the layman's terms, and then Justin, who's been a consultant and helped us quite a bit, and Mr. Hostler, our township attorney, worked on the project with us as well. And I know all of you have been involved in some of the tours and different things that we've done to get to this point. So I'll try and put this into a little bit of a condensed version. Currently, the only thing we have on the record for marijuana is that we completely abstained from all of it when it first came out as being legal. And we were doing that deliberately because I think most townships didn't know what to expect. So rather than risk something that we weren't sure of, we opted out like many of the townships did initially. And what's happened since then is it's gotten, a lot more prolific. And we've also realized in a tour that we did in Orion Township, the whole board went on it, that the Class C commercial growers, the big commercial growers, don't seem to have any problems associated at all with them. And we all went there, and I think it's a safe statement to say we were all pretty impressed. It was really very much like going through a pharmaceutical company. And Mr. Damascus was familiar with their operation as well. We found out later, and it helped them with some stuff. So based on that, we also were informed by the supervisor there, one of my OCATs, that's the Oakland County Association of Township Supervisors monthly lunches, that it's pretty lucrative for the communities. Two things happened. The very large commercial growers make a significant investment in trying to make sure that they're doing this the right way and meeting all the requirements. So I think the building, the one we looked at, was somewhere in the 20 million plus range. And I think there was about 10 or 12 million in heating and ventilation and filtering equipment in there. So it's about a $30 million investment for one of them, and they're putting several in. And that's when I really found out that one of the things they do, they license these growers basically in blocks of 1,500 plants. So when you go to a large one like they have in Orion, there are rooms upon rooms upon rooms of grow rooms, and each of those rooms probably has at least 1,500 plants or more in it. And so the licensing fees are pretty good as well, and they're to be used for things like police services or associated costs for the industry. So at any rate, all of the checking we did, and I know Gina, you did somewhere, about it up M15 a ways. In any that we've talked to anybody else, no one has had a complaint on the large Class C growers. So what we decided was, for a couple of reasons, to be honest with you, we wanted to get, if we can, a couple of the large Class C growers here, because it brings some good tax base, which would help us run the township. In the case of the fire department, it would help fill the needs for running the fire department as well. The other issue that became apparent when we started to get ready to develop the township's property over on Grange Hall Road at I-75 is there is not a lot of electricity. I know that seems hard for me to believe, but electricity is kind of scarce in a lot of parts of Oakland County, and in some areas even in Orion Township. One of the big benefits of using a Class C grower there was the electric companies come out when you want to do something like an industrial park and say, well, if you need more amps of service than we can provide you, you just need to tell us who wants to pay for the initial cost to help build the substation to provide the electrical current. And in the case of Orion, the grower there, I think, ponied up about $750,000, which is equivalent to saying, this is my advance electric payment for bills for quite a while. And the utility company says, now, if we know we got that much of a user, we'll start building the substation, and that'll bring the amperage you need in there. We don't have a huge amount of amperage available for townships property either. So I see this as two big pluses for us to do the Class C growers. And it also includes the other ancillary operations like the testers, the people that deliver it to the various retail outlets, that kind of thing. It's everything in that commercial growers kind of bailiwick except retail outlets. That's the one where there's been some concern about whether or not there's other issues that are created by them, and some of the townships have indicated that. So we deliberately structured this with the help of the attorney and the consultant to accommodate the rest of it, in the hopes that we will be able to get at least a couple into the industrial park we're building, so that we can get the power services we need in there to fully flush out the whole development. That's basically what is in the one ordinance before you tonight, that I know we sent it in the email before, is to do that commercial operation. The other problem we have is, and this has been, I would say, universally acknowledged by every supervisor I've talked to numerous times, is that some of the people, when they passed the original marijuana law, I think everybody tried to do it for the right reason, but the way they structured the law, there are some huge gaping holes in it that you could drive a semi truck through. Okay. And so this year we started getting a lot of calls from people that wanted to do, I'm raising my own marijuana and I do 5 caretakers, and a couple of them actually bought like a $350,000 home, never moved into it, completely converted a barn that was on the property to a grow facility, and the house has got most of the windows taped up, and you can tell there's lights on it at all the time. And the neighbors in the area get kind of concerned because there's fairly constant string of people coming and going, taking care of the crop, and nobody knows who they are, and there's never a resident living there. And in the one in particular, we had a real problem with an odor issue, which Mr. Hostler helped us and our ordinance officer kind of address that one to get it under control. But we were getting quite a few calls, and originally our answer to everybody was, well, we allow whatever the state of Michigan does, you know. And that unfortunately has a whole litany of problems that can come with it. So after talking to the supervisors several times, because this has come up a number of times in the supervisors monthly meeting, and doing some research, talking to Mr. Damascus and talking to our Jerry, our old ordinance officer, who, you know, passed away recently, we kind of gleaned what we thought were the best aspects of some control that would limit the impact for the residential areas out here. So the residential ordinance that's in here for the home grower that's grown their own, or currently up to 5 caregivers, is going to change the way you can do it and limit it to no outbuildings, must be owner occupied, so that you're gonna have the constant going of strangers with no real resident living there, and limit the amount of square footage that's in the residential structure that can be used. I think we put it at 25%, if I remember correctly. And so this seems to be what's working pretty well for people. And I can tell you that today I had another meeting at the Oakland County Sheriff's to meet our new, or I should say likely new US state representative after the November election. And Sheriff Bouchard was talking about these issues as well. In Milford, Don Green was sitting right next to me, and he said, when you get done with that, give me a copy of it. So I said, after tonight, Danielle, send a copy of that ordinance to Milford so he's got a chance to look at it. So I think we have hit, and from the people I've talked to, the other supervisors, I think the residential requirement for owner occupied and limiting the use not to outside buildings is going to do a lot to clear that up for us, because really the only complaints that I'm aware of that we've had so far have been from people that did it on a fairly large scale in an outbuilding and didn't take the appropriate steps to kind of deal with the odor issue. And we had sent out our ordinance officer to make them address that. And to the best of my knowledge now, the one in particular has been fixed because nobody's called me, and I got calls from her down in Florida on vacation. So I think it's fixed.
So you said owner occupied,
Mhm.
but wasn't there something?
There is, if you
if
lease out,
for
rent a house,
owner
rent or own.
acknowledged?
Yeah, if you're doing that and you're not the actual owner of the house, then the owner of the house has to give you written permission that he understands, he or she understands that's what they're doing.
That's in
And
the
that-
ordinance.
and
That
that's
was
in the
what I
ordinance as
recall,
well.
yeah.
So we don't have any surprises from anybody
Right.
later. This has taken quite a while, and I know we had, besides the research that all of us did individually and the tours and stuff, we had a work session here a little bit ago with both Justin and Will, and kind of aired all the things that we talked about, and all of that's baked into this lengthy document for the two ordinances. So with that, first, I guess I'll ask, are there any questions from the board members? And then we'll open it to the audience if anybody wants to ask anything.
I don't have any questions, but again, thank you, Will. I like what I'm reading, and I, especially in the residential, like several times I've circled where it is reiterated again and again, you must live there. So, I mean, or have permission if you're living there from the owner.
Someone has to live.
Yeah,
there.
owner occupied, yeah.
Any other questions from anybody? Okay, well, with that, then I'll open the meeting to the floor. If anybody wants to ask any questions about the ordinance that we're putting forward here?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Sure.
The ordinance that you worked on, when did that be voted on?
Okay, can I have your name, please?
Okay, James Kruger.
Okay, tonight,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but just so you know, I've talked about this on, I think, 5 or 6 different videos telling people we were working on this and what we were intending to do. So I honestly don't think anybody in the township is like, oh, I didn't know they were doing that.
Right.
Because I think they've covered it in the Citizen too, and we've gone out of our way to tell people we were
No,
working
I
on
was-
this for
I was
months
just curious.
before we
I
did
didn't
it.
know if it had to go to like public vote.
No,
or not.
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. No,
I can tell you, I've had one resident, and I'm sorry, I can't remember her name right now, but a resident called me last week. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. And when I explained to her what I was doing, she seemed to be very comfortable with it. And I told her if you wanted to, she was welcome to come tonight, but
No, I just wanted, if it had to be a public vote type thing, I want to make sure I voted because I think it's a good idea.
yeah, no,
I mean, I just haven't had a chance to come to one of these
Okay.
board meetings.
fair enough.
But I. don't
Well,
know
I
if
think what you're
remember-
thinking about is when people, sometimes they can have a self-initiated petition, and I think they're trying that in Ortonville right now. Where enough people signed a petition saying we want to vote on whether or not we can have retail outlets is usually what they're doing
Mhm.
in a community. And I believe Ortonville is going to have a vote on that. And I know Holly's been looking at it, but that's not something we're.
Yeah, I apologize.
attacking
I'm
with
just
this.
maybe not so familiar with how everything works.
No,
but
that's
I
okay,
just
it's fine.
rather anything asked and be more involved.
That's fine.
Wonder,
Yep, no, that's fine. But it'll actually be the board voting on it tonight.
yeah, okay,
And the public hearing was posted twice in the paper.
yeah.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Matt, do you think there's anything I missed you want to add?
No, you nice job kind of clarifying. It's nice to kind of attacking.
Justin, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's your dad.
Legal name's Matt, so it's okay.
That's
Matt,
okay, I'm sorry.
Kind of holistic approach by hitting both the home occupation and addressing the caregivers.
Mhm.
And then the medical on the commercial side, the MMFLA is that acronym, and also the recreational. So it get kind of confusing with all the different layers and so forth. And you did a great job with the standalone ordinances. And so whatever lane, so to speak, someone wants to get in, it's pretty clear on, the pathway here if there is one in the township. So.
And I have to say, you in particular have been extremely helpful on helping us work through some of the issues here and understand it. Will, is there anything else you think I need to add?
No, let me compliment you on your summary, which was, I thought, excellent, and you touched all the bases.
Eat myself to death with it.
The only thing that, and discussing this with board member Osrelli earlier today about the two applications we've got.
Mhm.
There's 2 versions. One's rather long with a lot of attachments, and one is the short version. I don't think you need 2 applications really, and the short version, I do note that it does cross pollinate a little bit with the commercial activity about the population center. Obviously, that's not going to be in R1.
Mhm.
So I just a thought to keep in mind, you might want to, if you want to modify the application, it's got nothing to do with the substance of either ordinance, which do not change.
Okay.
It's just the whether to combine.
The application form for it.
Yeah, to combine both into one or to either shorten, probably shorten further the application related to home occupations.
I'll make a note that we take a look at that this week to see if we can consolidate that, just make it easier. I know, Gina, I didn't want to skip you. I know you had sent me an email a while ago, but we're really supposed to talk about whatever we want to
Okay.
change here. So that's the reason. I wasn't ignoring
Oh,
you.
no,
Just
I
didn't
know,
call you.
and that was more to pass it along to Will, and I see that the things, I mean, the word including enforceable assurances, that, as far as the
Made you
odor of the water,
comfortable?
yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was looking
Okay.
for, and that's here. And that's, that is a must on the application.
Okay.
Period. Yeah,
Well, with
either
that,
application.
if there are no other questions, I guess I will close the public meeting at 7:21, it looks like. Okay, with that, we can now entertain a motion. This is my to-do list.
Okay.
So does somebody want to make a motion?
I will make a motion.
Let her roll,
that
Gina.
Groveland Township accept the application process and the ordinance as presented in the draft pertaining to both medical adult use marijuana and medical and adult use marijuana licenses.
Okay,
I will second that.
is there any other questions or comments from the board? Or any from the audience? If not, would you please take a roll call?
Bill,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Lizarelli,
Yes.
Tacoma,
Yes.
Bat,
Yes.
Yay.
Yay.
This has been a long time coming.
That's like having a baby or something.
I think it's really good.
I
that
don't know if you should quit.
it
Okay.
Took us
Okay,
long.
yeah, it took us a
That's
while,
all-
yeah.
that's all
But
you
I
can
feel
compare it to.
better like we have some tools now
Well,
going
and you
forward.
do have a tool going forward if somebody does have.
So thank you in particular, Will and
Yes.
Justin. It was
Yes,
very
thank you.
beneficial.
Very much.
The motion is that pertain to two separate.
Both
ordinances.
separate ordinances, yeah.
Jonah,
You want us to do it separate just to be?
read the motion back
should
to
we
us.
clarify this?
Yes.
Lizarelli motion that Groveland Township accepts the applications and ordinances as presented in the draft pertaining to both medical and adult use marijuana licenses.
Well, the one is entitled licensed marijuana facilities, that's one ordinance. The other
Okay.
ordinance is home occupations, medical marijuana and recreational use. If
So
that's what-
special-
Why don't we do,
Well, both ordinances is what I meant, but
but let's do it. Yeah, it won't hurt to be safe. Can we do it second one?
Can we first clarify what the first one was? Then?
Was for
okay,
the
so
medical-
then
it
we'll
was-
make the first one for facility.
Okay.
And the second one would be a motion to accept the ordinance for home. Sorry, yeah, residential, medical and adult use marijuana licenses.
Okay, is there, on the first one, let's do them both separate. The first one, is there a second to Gina's motion?
Teresa
I'll
seconded
say, I seconded it.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Any from the audience? If you would, Janelle, just to be
it. Sure.
double safe, take a roll call on it again.
Yeah. Bill,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Lizarelli,
Yes.
Tacoma,
Yes,
Yes.
okay, and now the second one, is there a second to Gina's second motion?
This is for the home occupations.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes, I'll second that one as well.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? Any from the audience? Okay, Janelle, if you would.
Christopher,
Yes.
Lizarelli,
Yes.
Tacoma,
Yes,
Bat,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
they say nothing worth doing is easy, right? Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Okay, now we'll move to unfinished business. There is none today. Under new business, we got a couple of items we have to go through. The first one's to discuss the West Nile reimbursement resolution. We have to do that because Janelle, you took care of the training for us again. Thank you.
So we have the stuff already.
And we already have the bug stuff. So we need to do the resolution for it.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing West Nile virus reimbursement with Robert DePalma, supervisor, as the agent for Groveland Township.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? If not, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Okay, we'll zip through that one like we do every year. Good. The next one is to discuss this Northwest Oakland sewer resolution. And I'm going to tell you what happened. Last Thursday, we had a meeting with Brian Coburn, who's the main contact on this. We told him we didn't like some of the language in this resolution because if you happen to have read it, it went up another $1 million.
Oh, no.
For like I think the 18th time since we started this project. So I said, I'm not going to go ask the board for more money. I don't believe this is what we were told and led to believe. And if you can't fix this, let me know how I get my money back. And so out of that, it turned out to be a fairly positive meeting. It was in the village of Ortonville and everybody was pretty unanimous about how they felt. He said he will wordsmith this and get us something that will be more acceptable to us. And he also acknowledged that later this month, I'm sorry, I don't have the date written down here. I think it's the 18th. The Board of Commissioners have a board meeting and they're going to vote on that, giving us half the money back from the ARPA dollars we all gave them. So both those things should be taken care of by next month. So there's nothing to do on it now. And so at this stage, I would just suggest we table this until the next meeting. Okay. Next item is to discuss time-lapse videography of the new building we hope to soon be building for the fire and the MSP. And Vinny, our cable manager, do you want to tell us what you uncovered on that? Because we talked about this before and I want to make sure the board's up to date on it.
Yeah, so as you see, I think in the packet, there's 3 options. One of them, there's 2 of them from just cameras that we could buy and put ourselves. And I'll speak to the pros of that in a second. The other option is a company, they have a quote, and it is a more long-term solution that it allows us to live stream, view it at any point in time. They would send us a camera, I think they're based out of Kansas or something. They'd send us a camera, they specialize in construction projects like this. We would mount it and it would point and shoot, and we could put our website, we could have a way to watch it live. It would also allow us to monitor any construction process because, as you know, lumber is, everything's expensive, and it would be a way to surveil it. The other options on Amazon, those are just, you put there, and then 3 months later, we go and we take it down, and so there's no live in that at all. The only problem is, the one the company sent us has to be plugged in, has to be wired. And I know.
Like 110, you mean?
Yeah. So I don't know.
Kevin, you got any extension cords that reach from the other side of Dixie?
Exactly.
I was gonna say, well, just mount it on the main.
And that's what I was gonna ask, is I don't know if we could mount it on Mavis and
We own.
plug it in there and
Well,
then,
Barry does, but I'm sure he would be okay with it.
because I've met, those, of course, that's the company, that's what they do, and I would trust that it would work seamlessly.
You're just covered with your own.
For about 12 months, right?
The Amazon products have some mixed reviews. Some people say they put it up there, waited 3 months, their project was done, they went and took it down and there was no footage. And I would hate for that to happen, so.
You'll hear from the office, where's Freddie?
Yes, exactly. So I suggest if we were to do it that way, maybe we buy 2 of them because
You could check one for that.
we could make sure one of them would work. Otherwise, if we could plug it in, I think that it's a good option to go with the companies, because then we could also you know, use it as a surveillance camera and kind of check in on it and make.
Would it be easier just to buy a surveillance camera system and put it up there and put on a DVR?
We could do that. But this company, what they will do is they'll take the footage after the fact and they'll, not that I
They
can't.
edit it in
But
the
they'll edit
stages
it all
of
together,
build, right?
not that I can't. With the surveillance footage that way, we'd have to manually take the photo. That wouldn't do the time lapsing feature.
Yeah. The reason I thought it's kind of slick, I think when the building gets built, people will be kind of interested to see what's happening. And there is some value, because if you remember when the Mavis building got built, somebody went out to the building site after all the steel got delivered and stole all of the cross bracing to the roof girders, and it held the whole project up for several weeks to try and get it replaced. And so there's some value, I think, to maybe posting signs under camera surveillance so people don't steal it. And the other thing is, I am starting to get literally quite a bit of interest in it. I have a call Thursday with a company that might want to be in the park. And I've been working for 4 or 5 months with that other contractor that wants to be in the park. I think this might make a whole series of interesting things going forward, not just the fire station, but as we start to develop the park, to be able to take some of those projects and put them out for the public to see, instead of having them wandering around back inside the site, you know? So if you think you can do it with 2 cameras, Benny, I would rather see us take the money out of the PEG fund, because there's a bunch sitting in there, and buy 2 or whatever you think we need to make it work. And then try and edit ourselves and use it going forward, you know, for some other projects that I think are going to be there.
That'd be fine. We can do that. I know you mentioned you like the surveillance aspect. Those wouldn't give it to us, just so you know. That would be like, those were the ones, just so you know that.
Oh, they take a picture and then they wait 20 minutes or a day or whatever.
That they would just take a picture. Probably you can set it once every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. And then at 3 months, when it's done, you check it. So if anything were to happen, it wouldn't act as the surveillance camera that you were thinking.
Is there a way on those freestanding cameras to have it watching for a couple of weeks, take it down and check to see if it recorded and see what it did and put it back in the same
Some people said
sequence?
they did that and it worked perfectly, but then when you do it for the duration, I mean, I could go out there, I guess, and change it.
He's got a ladder truck. He can get you.
Who's gonna be watching it in real time anyhow?
Well, that's true, but it puts it on the cloud so that you could, if something were to happen, let's say a bunch of it is stolen, we could, oh, there's a truck, you know, and it's 4K, so it's really good quality. But of course, it's, you know, it's more because we're renting it from a company.
Chief?
Just gonna ask, does Mavis have any surveillance cameras out there?
You know, I don't know. And Barry's never
Might be
said so.
something good to put anyway. So if we mounted, I mean, you can get probably an 8-camera system for less than $1,000. That's what we got from Sam's. We could mount it on the building, do all 4 directions and towards the Mavis building, and put his cameras up. That way you have constant DVR recording and.
Yeah,
other system.
that's kind of how mine at home is
Do them all
supposed to be
at the same time.
working. Does that seem feasible to you?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
I had a question, because this rental thing says for 12 weeks.
I would, yes, had you decided to, I was gonna bring that up. It's for 3 months, so I'm guessing it'll take longer.
Oh, yes.
So.
The building won't be done in 3 months.
No, so we'd have to extend that, which should of course be March.
I guess I'm more inclined to say, let's get something that
Only.
we get some permanent value. I kind of like what Chief said about maybe getting a surveillance system and having the benefit of it going forward, if we think we can still kind of cut out of it what we need for the videos. And I don't think they need to be live, but I think it'd be nice to take at some point in time, condense some of it to show what's happening, because typically what'll happen is he'll finish clearing the land. We had some photos of that now, and then he'll do the flat work and the piping in the ground, and then the steel kit will come and that'll go up in probably about a week, the rough steel form.
It's just for the, in case someone decides that they needed to something from the site more than we did.
Yeah.
We might be able to figure it. And we know personally that works.
Yeah.
No, I like Chief's idea too, to get one of those systems, because
Because we're going to put it in our building anyway, you know, some kind of surveillance camera system, but I think for the price of those systems now, I don't know. Here, when our system went out from the lightning strike, we got a wireless one at Station 1, you know, for I don't know, $700.
Yeah, it wasn't that much even for the one I got at home.
And then You can leave it at Mavis and then just put Ryan's system in, that way you get overlapping coverage.
Do you think you could get some prices together on that for us for next month?
Yep, and the only thing I'll say, if we do it that way, that's great, but we have to maybe have someone make sure that they would have to like snap photo or retroactively we'd go back and we'd have to make sure that before the video overwrites itself, we would have to get the photo footage for our time lapse.
That would be our cable manager, right?
And then am I understanding that we can use tide funds if we do it that way as well?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, can you get some cost on that and use it with the surveillance? We'll look at that next time instead of looking at these alternatives, I guess.
So are we tabling this until next month?
I think unless there's somebody feels differently, is that,
I just wanted to make sure I understood.
we'll table it till next month then, okay?
Take a quick look, you know.
I won't be here next month, but I'll support it.
Okay.
Do you want to just approve up to a certain amount?
Well, I would accept that inevitably you'll look at it and come up with something that you want to tell me is a little bit different. And I'd rather have the whole board buy into what we're doing. So I don't think, it's not that time sensitive that we can't wait till next month.
As long as you're not starting the construction within the next
No.
month, then yeah. we're fine.
But believe me, the steel won't be here in a month, even when we sign the deal.
A 16 camera system with a DVR from Samsung.
So,
And that's, I mean, that's 16 cameras. Out there. You get that.
Well, what does the board want to do?
Is that like Kim?
Do you want to wait till you look at it and come back, or do you want to just approve it up to a certain dollar amount?
I'm all right up to a certain dollar.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea.
Are you comfortable, cable manager, with us changing the plan in the midstream, or do you want to think it?
we'll figure something, that's fine. Yeah, I'm sure we can make something work. I'm only worried, did you mention doing both the camera and one of the Amazon cameras? Do you want to do both? Where in case, maybe because the Amazon cameras, some reviews say it worked awesome and they have their awesome time lapse from 6 months, but others say it didn't
And
work.
the one camera was, what was it, 400 bucks?
300 and something.
Some bucks. Why don't we get the security system in one time lapse? Push comes to shove, if the time lapse does fumble up, we can make something out of the security camera, right? Is that agreeable?
Can you make something out of the security footage?
Sure, yeah, we could just, I'll do it just in case along the way, I'll take some photos and keep them separate, yeah.
He's Vinny, he can do anything in that cable.
We can do way more than me. but-
He fixes my
Can you
words
hack-
when I
can
say
you
them
hack
wrong.
into that camera? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that we approve, let's just be safe, up to $1,500 for one time-lapse camera and a security system for the purpose of videoing the construction of the new building and providing some additional security. Is there a
Support that.
second by Gina? Okay, any other questions from the board? Okay, and if you take a roll call, Janelle?
Lizarelli,
Yes.
Tupama,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Bills,
Yes.
Christopher.
Yes.
Okay, great. Next item D, discuss hiring part-time. Patty, that's yours?
Yeah, Janelle has asked to go to part-time. So I am good with that. She and I have talked. I filled Bob in a little bit on it. And that leaves us with needing another part-time employee in the office. So I'd like to run an ad starting this Saturday's paper in the Citizen to have a part-time person. So I don't,
Is there a part she wants to give up?
actually, she's keeping the parts I would have.
I told her, I knew it.
No, she's doing a great job. She has some other things going on in her life with another job she was working at too, and it worked out, but it was pretty stressful, and I can understand that. So I don't know if we need to have a vote on that or.
My only question would be, I remember when she went to full-time, we did building fund stuff to compensate for that. So as
Yes.
long as we can make sure we're
Yep,
keeping
we
those
will.
lines, I'm fine with that.
Yes, and I would have to bring my recommendation to the board for somebody to hire any,
So at this time, you just want
Whoever to hire.
discussion because. you're
Yes,
gonna
I
bring
just
somebody.
wanted a discussion.
Okay,
Basically, I think we do need to run an ad, so we have another set of extra hands in here and then at that time we would come back. I would,
I'm good with it.
yeah, and we
You too?
had set
Jim?
the hiring for part-time. Was it $15, I
Right.
think, was what we went to for part-time. So that's what we would offer.
That's our, well, I thought that was our minimum. That's our starting,
That's our start.
right? for part-
Yes, $15 an hour.
We want to make sure we get a quality person, you know, and so we'll see if we can at
Mhm.
15 an hour.
Yep, it might have to come back and we discuss it a little more, but
If you put the ad out, you'll find out what you get.
yep, I thought we'd run the ad and see who answers and, you know, do a little bit of talking to someone.
Okay.
She isn't going anywhere.
We've all agreed, so.
That's just kind of a little FYI that
Next,
we're running
It
in.
is a request of her name is Chanel. Michelle, Giselle. Some packages, similar to actually.
The part-time help.
So that we can
does not get
all get
choices.
totally confused when we call for
Make sure
someone.
you Still all get our names.
Danielle and Janelle, the Janelle.
Okay, next item is to discuss the highest sponsorship money. That's your.
Yeah, so the next two are for Holly Area Youth Assistance and the Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance. And annually, we sponsor them with $2,500 each. So I will make a motion to, is there any discussion on this?
No.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we approve sponsoring Holly Area Youth Assistance up to $2,500 or for $2,500 for the 2022 year.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Oh, I'm gonna do the next one separate.
Any-
And
Okay, he seconded. Any
Yeah.
questions or comments from the board?
No.
You know, if you take a roll call on it, because it's money.
DePalma,
Yes.
Bath,
yes,
Bill,
Yes,
Christopher,
Yes.
Israeli.
yes.
Okay, now.
Now I motion to support BGYA, Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance, also with $2,500 for the 2022 year.
Okay, is there a second? Support from Gina. Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Now, a roll call on it, please.
Bath,
Yes,
Bill,
yes,
Christopher,
Yes.
Israeli.
yes.
DePalma.
Yes. Okay, well, we're cruising right along here, the miscellaneous reports. First item is,
Oh, we've got the library.
oh, I'm sorry, the library. I checked it off. We haven't said it yet. I
And
apologize.
while
You're right.
we're supporting and sponsoring, you can do this.
We always give $6,500 to the library. It's such a phenomenal deal for the Holly Library for our residents. So this is the bill that they've rendered for this year. I recommend that we approve the $6,500 for the Holly Library again. They've been kind of reaching out, trying to do some extra awareness things here at the township office and at the fire station. Very, very nice people to do
And
that.
our residents all can use the Holly Library
all
at
of
no
them.
cost.
I know somebody who got a library card at that,
Open house kind of thing.
that open house
Me.
drive.
They're also gonna make it expensive for me because I have a return yet.
You're gonna take your card.
You might have to go back and not want
You're
part-time.
so busy, you can't
I
finish a
would
book.
go back to full time.
Okay, so
Gonna have to clean the library.
I made a motion for the $6,500. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Teresa, any questions or comments from the board? If
We're
not,
gonna have to make a donation.
Janelle, would you take the roll call?
Just to clarify the support, there was Bill,
Yes,
Yes.
Bill,
yes,
Christopher,
Yes.
Israeli,
Yes,
DePalma,
Yes.
Bath.
yes.
Okay, now we move to miscellaneous reports. So Patty, anything for Holly Area Youth?
Holly Area Youth Assistance, they did have a meeting and I thought I had a synopsis of it. What did I do with it? Right under the next piece. So there were 8 new referrals in the month of April, 7 were school referrals, and 1 was from the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. They have 9 skill building applications came in for the month of April, And the total monies allocated for those requests will be $1,015. Youth recognition, they had 7 nominations have been received. Preparations for recognizing and honoring these 7 young persons are underway. Yard signs, letters of commendation, and gift bags will be given to them. And then they also have a Holly Area Youth Assistance Scholarship. And this is the first year they've done this program. Haya has selected 2 seniors who will each be awarded a $500 scholarship to the trade school, college, or university of their choice. Yep. The recipients will be awarded the scholarship at the Holly High School Awards Assembly on May 13th. And Holly area schools will be offering a virtual learning in the fall of 2022 to those students who apply and sign a contract. A teacher has already been hired to implement this learning option. And the weekly Wednesday car shows, they'll begin on June 8th from 5 to 8 in downtown Holly and will run through October 5th.
They get pretty good turnout for those too.
Yes, they do. They do get a good turnout for those.
Are they still taking nominations for that youth recognition night?
She didn't say on here.
Yeah.
I know, wait till Teresa gives her report, guys. She's,
Is that the? all right.
yeah, no, that's all I have. She sent me a
Okay.
synopsis.
Teresa, you want to do BGO?
Sure, so Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance, since the last board meeting here, they had youth recognition night on April 21st. We highlighted 189 students that were
You did a nice
nominated.
job on that too.
Well, thank you. Yeah, try to fill Fran Hotchkiss's shoes. Really. Woo. So, but it really was a huge turnout. The whole entire cafeteria was full. And we had lots of VIPs showed up, like Bob and Patty and Ruth Johnson,
Hoffman.
Bob Hoffman, Lisa Brown. Gosh, there were several. There was a representative from Elisa Slotkin's office. There were quite a few people. And our local important people from the school district and the village and the townships and so on. So that was a wonderful night. Love and Logic continues to be a very well-attended program, and they're doing some of it virtually, which they find the parents really do like. The movie nights this summer, there are a couple of them planned. I believe Clifford the Big Red Dog is one of them, sponsored by the library or in cahoots with the library. And I forgot what the second one was, but they say always check the BGYA Facebook page or their website, or you can look in the Citizen, because almost everybody in the Brandon School District gets the Citizen, except if you live out here in Holly and you have Brandon school students, then you don't get one delivered to your house unless you subscribe, or you can come here to the township now.
Get them off the
Because
calendar, yeah.
They're giving us more.
They're giving us more,
And we're
and
putting them in the paper.
that's right, so you can get them there. And we have a meeting tomorrow, so I'll have more to update next month.
And just to add, since we were talking about BGYA, they did send the
Thank you.
board a thank you card. So if you want to pass that along,
Okay,
you can.
next would be the planning commission, Jim.
Yeah, last.
Let me guess. You're gonna talk about the Renaissance Festival.
I am. I'm also going to talk about Warfest. So there were 2 topics at the Planning Commission. First one was a gentleman that, for lack of a better word, sponsors off-road or 4-wheel drive events. And he was coming in to test the waters to see what the board would have to say for a use permit for that. I'm bringing that up only because it also falls during the Renaissance Festival on one of the weekends at the
In
festival.
September, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually September 16th through 18th. And I bring that up because the second component was a great deal of dialogue about what is going to be required from the folks at the Renaissance Festival, essentially through their, if you want to call it their champion, which is going to be Row Engineering. And
Have you talked to Danielle today?
I have not.
You'll want to talk to her tomorrow.
Okay. In any event, the board seems to feel it's going to be a challenge for the Renaissance Festival to comply with our wishes I can't speak tonight, you guys, expeditious amount of time. So now I'm intrigued by what Danielle has to say.
I think she kind of caught me just before I left today. And the gist of it was, I think that Kathy's apparently indicated she doesn't think she's going to get what she wanted out of Roe, which is the concern the boards had from the beginning. And I don't think she thinks she's going to get it in time to make that preview available to all the planning commission members before the 26th. So you might want to touch bases with Danielle, but she didn't sound very optimistic to me. And my total discussion was about 35 seconds.
Okay, I will do
So
that.
just to let you
In
know.
any event, I think that the biggest thrust of this is the township board is committed and has made it painfully clear to everyone associated with the festival that it is no longer business as usual, that traffic backups are a danger to the community. We want to see their disaster recovery plan. We want to see their traffic plan. We want to see basically an impact study of what their operation does to the community and the roadways. And it'll be ongoing up until we approve or disapprove or whatever may come out for the use permit.
Yeah, I think the thing that surprised me most was the row engineer people that they sent had never been to a festival and didn't have any data on it. They were going to go there and watch it and observe it. And I'm like, the fellow that does their police interface is Chip Schultz. He used to be on our fire department. He's an Oakland County sheriff. And he's worked for them for like 20 years. I said, the fellow sitting right next to you can tell you everything you want to know about how many people come in each car, when the traffic shows up, how many they can handle in a day, and what happens when it backs up. He could tell you everything you want to know from doing it for 20 years. And the row engineer people, if you recall, just kind of said, well, we're going to have to observe it and give you some thoughts on it. And that's what makes me nervous with the Renaissance Festival. Then when Danielle caught me before I left today, I'm doubly concerned.
To Bob's point, everybody, the engineers waffled on our request initially, and the waffling took the context of, well, as Bob said, we need data. And they didn't offer what they should be able to do and is claimed on their website, and that is, well, we can give you a number of if-thens, that at this level of input, let's say, into the system, or this number of cars that are coming into the lot, we would expect the following. There was no offering of that, which I found pretty unusual. So again, we're going to have to just take a look-see and continue to hammer on them.
I can tell you two other things we probably need to be careful on. When Tom came to ask about the Fest, because this will be, I think, the 4th year he's done it. My concern is this: we have an agreement with Oakland County that the DB levels at that ORV park don't exceed, it's either 92 or 3, the state level, for any ORV park that the state runs. But when he comes in, he indicated he's going to have 2 20-minute bursts where a couple of new high-tech electric off-road vehicles are going to be PR released to the public, and a couple of very high horsepower ones that make as much as 102 dB. So that was the reason why I suggested that the planning commission meet with him prior to him coming in for his report, cause it's one thing to say it's 102 dB and it's another thing to listen to it. And the agreement with the Oakland County Parks Department was, we will take control of anything we do when running the park. But on the days where we lease the park to somebody like Tom or anybody else, they have to come to you at Groveland and get a special use permit, and you tell them what they got to do. So I'm just concerned that I like Tom and I appreciate him coming to us up front, but I don't know how to tell you, because I think 102 dB from 92 or 3 is several magnitudes louder. It's not just 10% more. It's like 2 or 3 times, I think, the level. And so
33 dBs at no.
doubling. Okay, so that's about 8 times the noise level or something. I suspect, unless they're doing something specific with it, that may be quite objectionable to the people on Thread Valley. And that's the reason I wanted it to be tested before then, so you'd have an opportunity to hear what it's like or decide if you want to move it someplace closer to I-75 or somehow to mitigate the noise level on it. So that's my concern on those 2 issues. And the other thing I want to tell you today, when I went to the sheriff's office for the meeting with Lisa, I happened to bump into Chip Schultz in the parking lot. Who said, "Oh, I've been meaning to get a hold of you, Bob." Why? He said, Woodward, the chair of the county commissioners, is decided, according to Chip, that he does not want the Oakland County Sheriff making contracts with private corporations. And right now, the sheriff's contract is between the Renaissance Festival and the Oakland County Sheriff. He says, I think they're going to want it to go back to the township. But I'd be curious if he actually comes forward with that request to find out, well, who does the one in Independence Township for Pine Knot? So I'm only telling you that because, when I said that to Patty, she said, "What do you think they want to try and get the sheriff back in?" Which he did take a couple of digs today at me because we don't have the sheriff here. So I'm just giving you a heads up. That might come into your Renaissance Festival discussion.
Was it Chip that made the deal or this other gentleman?
No, Chip just told me what they were going to do. But Sheriff Bouchard made a point of telling me that because they said, "Oh, you all have the sheriff, right?" And then they pointed to me and said, "But you don't, right?" And I said, "That's right, I don't." And he said, "Yeah, we got to talk about that because my deputies keep on coming out when your troopers aren't available." But I've heard that before.
Never mind.
So I'm just letting you know that that's brewing in the background as of today, standing in the parking lot at 2 o'clock. Okay.
So, yeah, so I attended the meeting, the planning commission meeting, and I want to make something clear in my head. I left with the understanding that if Rowe Engineering did not present in the timely fashion that we were asking, that the approval of the special use permit to the Renaissance Festival would not be made available because they have a timeline of X amount of time before they open that they have to apply for it. Am I off base there?
I believe you are, Gina. They have, and I'm not pulling this out of air, but they have approximately 60 days before it opens to present.
Right, which was June.
Which is June. So they have plenty of opportunity if they were to work diligently, in my opinion.
Right.
To be able to do it.
But if they can't.
If they can, then it will be up to them to present, in my opinion only, to the board, alternatives that are going to be satisfactory to the board to approve or not approve.
Which Fishback, which we agreed to hire, would also weigh in and give us give us.
By the way, has anybody on the planning commission gone to Fishback and hired them yet? Because we approved it.
Right, we did.
But I don't know that anybody's actually hired.
No, I would assume that comes from the board.
Oh, well, then we better get on that.
Okay. Then let's
To write them a letter or put it on me if you would like.
Can you, because you had the discussions on behalf of it, so,
Yeah.
and I'll be happy to sign it.
Okay, and it should not come from Jeff. I'm not shirking responsibility.
No,
He is
no,
the
no, I think
chairperson.
it should, I'll sign on behalf of the board.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because we approved it
we
at a
approved
board
that.
motion, so
Yeah.
the board's in line with it. It's just somebody's got to send them a letter to confirm what it is you want out of that.
Okay, we'll get on that tomorrow.
Right.
I believe for the most part, that is all we discussed at the planning commission.
Okay. Gina, did you have anything for the
We did
BZA?
not have a meeting.
Cruising. Okay. On the supervisor's report, I say this tongue in cheek, as Will knows. I think we are ever so close with Justin and his dad's help of getting the easement for Warden Road that we've been trying to do all along, so that people that are on our property can get over to the ORV park without going out on Dixie or Grange Hall Road and jamming traffic up. So they've asked for a couple more weeks, but they indicated in an email to me this morning that so far all of the verifications they go through internally have been supportive of it. So we're not quite sure. We think it's an epiphany, right? Well,
We'll see when it comes in.
but whoever your dad called, I think helped. I think the VP knew, and it's jogged it loose. So I think we're close to that one being done. I told you that the sewer refund on half the ARP money we gave him for the study is supposed to be done later this month. I think it's the 18th, if I remember correctly. So we should have that. And Will and I have been talking about finalizing the agreement for the sale of the station. So once we have that document for the board to look at, we'll discuss what we want to go, but it's a very good offer, and we would like to get that rolling this month as well too.
Okay.
And then I had the meeting with the state rep, Lisa McLean, who was kind of up in the Thumb area and picking up the northern part of Oakland County. And I thought it was very good of her and Levy Company to suggest that we all meet at Bouchard's office, so she have an opportunity to talk to the supervisors up here and ask them what issues we're facing. And almost all of us said they were infrastructure dollars, either sewers or internet or something along those lines. So that's all I have for today's supervisor's report, but all in all, stuff's finally moving and jogging loose. Patty?
Oakland County has sent out, they do this annually for the beaches. They will run testing, so I'll have Janelle put this on the website or the Facebook page. It tells you where to go to find out if the beach is opened or closed due to E. coli and such. So that was one thing. The veterans, they are having Memorial Day in Holly on May 30th. There will be lunch at the Legion. There was a new on June 17th, a soldier story at 7 p.m. at the VFW, donation at the door, and that's a fundraiser for the wall that's coming. And
That's the replica of the wall. in
yeah,
Washington, right?
yes. There's also a fundraiser dinner at the Moose from 4 to 8 on June 5th. And the Village of Holly Fire Department boot drive for the wall, 9 to 3 on June 17th. So we'll put this also for anybody. I'll run the whole flyer, the newsletter on the Facebook page. The election, what did we end up having? 400 and oh, we had 180. 180 votes. Yes, I don't know where.
Burning down the house, I'll tell you.
I'm thinking of something else, obviously,
The
because
gross margin
I
on the
can
win was
tell
400.
you how I know we had 180, and I should have goofed on it, because in Groveland Township, the bond for Holly Schools was 94-90 against. So that's what we had. And it did pass though, between Springfield, Rose, and was it White Lake or Highland?
That's probably
Highland.
Highland, I think.
I think it's Highland, yeah. So it did pass, but other than that, yep. And that's pretty much all I have. So we're gonna start working on August election, which Janelle just could not leave me for that. She's like right there. I can't give somebody these elections. So
Okay.
we're gonna hop right into the hot water next on that too. That's coming up.
Teresa, did you have anything you wanted to add?
So in the treasurer's office, I'll just say the settlement is finished, done, approved. And that's what the 2021 tax collection was moved to the public funds. But interest rates are going up, which is good in some respects, but you know, for us, we're earning more interest. I'm currently working on updating the tax bills and balancing the tax rolls. Plus, working with Patty on the HRA plan to reduce the monthly fees that the township and fire department is paying to service the plan. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Well, with that, we'll just move public comment. Anybody have a question? If not, a motion to adjourn this meeting would be in order.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Before we reconvene for the fire board meeting, Will, could I see you for just 2 minutes? We're all here. Chief, the meeting is yours.
I will.
Bye-bye.
With 57 calls for April, that was just shy of 2 a day. We're currently just shy of 3 a day. I had a FaceTime interview with Shane Krausneck. I'm sure I screwed that up. He's currently out in Oregon. He's a wildland firefighter. He's a friend of Sam's that we hired 2 months ago, I think it was. He wants to come back to the area, but he didn't want to come back if there's no jobs available. So there's tons of jobs, firefighter EMTs.
Is there any place in the country that firefighter EMTs aren't in demand?
So he's looking to move back in the area. He doesn't obviously have a home here yet, but he's got a girlfriend that lives in the area. He's gonna probably just move in with his parents for the time being. But I'd like to recommend that we hire him as a fill-in member. And he hasn't moved back to the area yet, but just basically would be the impetus for him to move.
Okay. Somebody want to make the motion?
I will make a motion that we hire Shane, looks like Krasnick, for firefighter EMT as a fill-in member.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments from the board? Janelle, would you take a roll call?
Christopher,
Yes.
Israeli,
Yes.
Ivana,
Yes,
Beck,
Yes.
Bills.
Yes.
thank you.
There was just one other thing with him. It's not an issue. I just want to bring it. He asked if it would be possible for him to go fight wildland fires in the summer. I said, well, I would consider that like military service. So, you know, since he's not a full-time guy, you know, just basically.
Yeah, It wouldn't be available for
So
those
that was
those
real
months.
important for him too, so.
Kind of like the reserves.
Is he a Marine too?
Of
course. What more do we need to know, right, Chief?
While we're on the subject of hiring, Janelle and I had talked about this, and I know Janelle and you talked. Cadets, do you want us to run a background check
Yes,
on
I
going
talked today,
forward?
And I said, yes, because I don't want them to be a cadet
Mhm.
and then get firefighter EMT and then we never did a background check and then we find out 2 years later that
Okay,
there was an issue, so.
all right. I just wanted to be sure we were all on the same page.
Okay.
We repaired some air leaks on the ladder one. It was just some small airlines, 1/4 inch and 3/8 airlines, but they're just constantly just not to irritate you.
Is it the clamps on, what do they call them, Odeker clamps?
These are kind of like shark bite clamps where you just slide them in but the O-rings dry out after 20 years, so.
Oh,
For 30 years. And so I replaced them. But apparently compression fittings don't work very well in the airline because they kept popping off. So I spent 5 hours on Saturday fixing it. I think I got it fixed, but I just wanted to let you know we got that taken care of.
okay.
We did some extrication and live fire burns on 2 donated vehicles at Station 1 last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't remember which one it was. A lot of people really enjoy that. And we're post testing at Station 2. Nobody really enjoys that.
Especially when you got to dry them and put them all away, right?
We had 12 people a couple Saturdays ago helping us. And Jason Bougai, who was the one that was in that car accident, he even showed up so we babysat him for the day so his wife Jen could take a day off from him.
How's he doing?
He's doing a lot better. He's he put weight on his leg and everything. They say he should be able to start driving, I think, next week. We're also building a hose roller, manual hose roller, so it makes that a lot easier to bending over rolling the hose is probably the hardest part. And then each hose, the large diameter hose, 150 pounds. So hopefully I'll have this thing made this week and make it a lot easier. We might be testing this week. Depends on the weather. The FBI called me and I think it was the week of September 12th, sometime that week, they want to do that immunized musicians explosion at the
Gravel pit. That you make them call Barry though, don't you?
Oh, I just coordinate very, very.
Oh, okay.
But I'll-
Yeah, I know he'd support it. I just don't want it happening and he doesn't know what's going on. Like somebody's bombing his gravel operation.
The last time it happened, the people did call up here, but yes.
When is that? When is that supposed to happen?
September 12th, I think. I didn't have my note. And then the state inspection is May 23rd. That's where they check the ambulances. We've got, well, we go through them every month to check for expired equipment. But,
We don't have any new information on the mini ISO test yet, right?
and we're, I guess we have nothing on that. So it's just when we hear about it, we'll get ready for it. It should be, we've got the binder and everything set up. So Eric did it last time. I'm assuming he'd be the same one this time. I think he's a rep in this area. So, and when Jeff Burdess talked to him, he said, "Oh, that's just a mini ISO." So we don't know what that means, but I'm guessing as what's changed in the last, I think it's 7 years, now 6 years.
Yeah, the problem is, you really think ISO, the organization, would go out of their way when they publish a new standard or criteria to tell all the fire departments so you could anticipate what you need to do to get it. Instead, it's kind of like, oh, don't tell them nothing, just see if they're doing it. Which I think is extremely unfair to the fire departments, really.
When we try to find out information, we get, rumor control is always very prevalent. We're like, oh, they're changing the whole standard. Last time we did it, they said they're changing the whole standard. So you better get it done now before, next year. And
Yeah.
when Eric came, he says, we're not changing anything.
I don't know. It's just,
So when you look on their website, sometimes they change what's required on the trucks, but
that's why if they actually took it upon themselves to do a blast email or something to all the fire departments they check, people would know what to expect to be able to prepare and do the right thing. If you really want them to do X, Y, and Z, you ought to tell them that's what they need to do now if they didn't have to do
or
it
have a
before.
checklist on your website. Here's the checklist.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's how you get your points. So as far as we know, they haven't updated that. So we're just using the last time and their paperwork. Obviously, we keep checking.
Okay.
And the inspector works for Springfield once in a while, so we can go pick his brain and prepare.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Any
Any questions?
Kevin, when we do a background check, what do we check for?
The company is basically look for any criminal charges. I don't know how much it is, like $50 or more.
25, I think, 35.
So just like a lien.
If we have two, just one to check a background if they're gonna be handling money in that. And a little more extensive one.
So if they are checked as a cadet and then they age a little bit, then they get hired as firefighter, EMT, whatever, would you do a recheck on them?
Well, we don't do that with the full-time or the part-time people, so I would
Okay.
say no.
I just wondered.
I mean, if
That's why you want to check them at the beginning.
there was I still get them now, but used to get reports if you had a traffic violation.
Right.
And Patty's name is on every one of them, so it's 50 years ago. So.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
The names are people who don't even work here anymore. I mean,
Right.
there's a few of them that do, but I don't know how to change that system or anything like that, but
But it tells you if they have a felony, they have driver.
That's mostly if they had a drunk
Problems.
driving ticket or something, so you find
yeah,
out
stuff
right
like
away,
that.
right?
Well, anything, if they've been incarcerated for any
Yeah.
reason, that
That's
comes
true.
up on it. It checks to make sure that their social security number is their social security number the best they can.
Just as a side note, before I forget, has the MSP detachment asked you for things
Oh,
like
geez, yeah. Didn't get hold of him today.
paper and
ask for,
cleaning supplies, garbage bags? I don't know.
we give them to them if they want, but they don't ask us.
You might mention it to them because they called Patty and wanted to know
Thursday,
who's
and I'm
supposed to supply them. I thought, Jesus, we pay all the utility bills, the building's free, and we're cleaning it now. You
And I was
can't buy the
kinda like-
garbage bags?
I don't know, so I called Penny and told Penny,
I gave them a
take some from here.
complaint about their
She-
vacuums, so I gave
for
them a
now.
little vacuum, I want to do one for ourselves. That was a couple of years.
You didn't go up there and use it?
Oh, I have.
Didn't Burdess do that?
It was.
He did most of it.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I'll get a hold of him tomorrow.
Okay,
How about if I just show
where
them?
they
How many
are.
bags we got?
I think Patty gave them, didn't you give them the bags we had to those canisters when we get rid of them?
Yeah, there were
I
a
have a
few
whole bunch
left
of
in
orange
there.
ones left from the road cleanup.
They needed, she took it some paper towel, which Janelle and I brought up a good
Paper
subject.
towels, that's the difference. I'm not doing no paper towels.
Well, they were looking for paper
If
towels.
if I forget, the next time when you get a chance to do those cans, because you said you couldn't get in them, the key that unlocks the door on both of them is in Janelle's office in that key box where everything's locked up. That's
Does it
where
say
it
it's
is.
a trash can?
It does. It literally says trash can, and I think it says teeth up. That's the way it fits in the lock and works. Okay, thank you, chief. That's it. If no other questions,
I have two, but I
Sure.
don't think they're actually related to any of this. 'Cause I don't-
Try it anyway.
I don't know who to ask,
try.
but, well, one thing, the end of Holly Road, that's the road I live on. So
Holly?
Holly,
Okay.
Hawley.
Mhm.
So right where it hits Grange Hall,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually concrete.
Yes.
So Grange Hall is asphalt, Holly is dirt, but the apron is concrete.
Yeah.
And it's horrendous. It's really beat up. I assume mostly, because I've only lived here about a year,
Mhm.
but I assume mostly from the gravel haulers coming down the road.
Well, that's why I think they hard surfaced it, because all of the gravel operation out of the, what used to be
Yeah.
called the Kurtz pit, has to
Okay.
come out on that side.
Yeah, but like, it's actually, it's so bad, like if I come from 75 to go down the road, I actually go into like the oncoming traffic side,
Uh-huh.
and down the dirt road, just to go around it. It's actually so bad.
Okay.
I don't know if it was something that I would like mention to you guys, or would I like call Oakland County? Because I know the.
858-4804 is the general number for any type of road complaint to the, and it goes directly to the road commission. A lot of people don't realize it, but
Oakland County?
yeah, but our COC, the road commission for Oakland County, actually doesn't report to anybody, even the county executive.
Mhm.
So they have a separate center that they run for taking, when people say I got potholes and stuff. If I had to guess, nobody's ever called them on that piece.
Right, and I'm willing to, I
Yeah.
just didn't know, and I thought since I was here, I thought I'd ask you
Yeah.
if you'd know.
But if you call them
Yeah.
and they don't take care of it, if you call me after them, I gave them a week or two and they didn't come and
Yeah,
fill it,
yeah,
tell me and I'll call the road foreman and have him go out and check it
okay.
before he retires.
All right,
Just here.
I'll call him tomorrow if I can.
Okay, it's 858-4804.
Okay, I'll look on their website for you. And then the other thing I was gonna ask is, if Buffalo Lake Road, where it comes off
On the
of,
backside. Oh, Dixie?
Dixie,
Yeah.
if you follow that straight in, it tees to Holly Road.
Mhm.
You picture that? If you keep going, it winds around and goes parallel to 75.
Yes,
Do you know that little spot down there?
yep.
Okay.
For some reason, that little spot right next to I-75 was blacktop, I think in the 70s.
Yeah, it's weird, okay.
The reason somebody told me it's got something to do with it is because it's close to the
It's awesome that you
expressway.
know where it is. I'm not complaining, you're complaining around the road, but I walk my dog there. I noticed like 5 tires on wheels, like down, like right by the road.
Oh,
And
really?
Yeah, I pick up trash all the time, but I can't pick those up. And I don't think my trash collection would even take them, but I try. Everywhere
Probably
I walk,
not.
I go home with like a shopping bag of crap
Mhm.
to throw away, but I can't.
Pick those up.
Who would take care of those if I told someone?
Well.
We don't have, you can't put those in a fire truck either.
No, they're going to the ambulance.
In fact, sometimes when we take people to the hospital, we say, and you get a free tire on this ride.
They've been there a long time. 'Cause no one
I'm
knows
sure they
they're
have.
there.
There is a propensity over time for people to find places here where somebody doesn't live and
Especially
throw
if they're
junk.
paid for them to take-
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
hazmat.
and if
take
you can
tires.
ever see somebody doing that and tell me their license number, I will get them fined and have the state police do it. But most of the time, they do it in the middle of the night when nobody's around.
Well, there are some, and I don't know who did it, but somebody dumped 2 appliances, I think, right? Right on
Licenses
Buffalo
and
Lake.
tires you have to pay to have them.
And yeah, I would want to kill somebody who did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm old enough, I'd yell at them and say, what the hell are you doing, call 911.
We're lucky if sometimes they throw a bag of stuff and it's actually got like receipts from the house in it, and then we find it. But that's, and all the time I've been here, 26 years, I think we found that once or twice. Usually it's stuff, like you said, a old washing machine, and you can't find who dumped it there.
Will the county actually come out? No,
The county, just so you know, people ask all the time about dead animals,
yeah,
They go, there's a dead animal on the side of the road. And I go, and this is the question I have to ask, is the hoof touching the white line on the edge? They go, no. Well, then they won't pick it up. It's up to you to clean it up. They don't like that, but that's the answer. So the other answer is drag the hoof over to the white line and then call them, and you can say, yes, it's in the roadway. That's the rule they use.
then the county will, yeah.
But it's got to be technically in the roadway in the white lines where they
I
delineate.
might
the road.
call community disposal and see if they actually take that, so then I'll put it in my pickup truck and put it out to my. Honestly, I just want to keep it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's admirable, but I'm just being honest with you. That happens in spots around here. There's, I think one of them's down the road from you where they go to the state land and they dump it in the parking area in the state land.
Remember the couple of years ago, we had all the tire, were you here when all the tires, they filled up that state
Yeah.
parking area?
You don't see this stuff so much when you're driving, but go take a walk or walk your dog. That's when you see it. And I know I'm not the only one on it. Everybody here, someone else, I don't know in this room probably walks. So
It used to be worse because before we had no-haz cleanups in the county, we used to get calls all year long for people jumping. I got a container, 5-gallon pail of I don't know what, sitting at the intersection of these two roads. It's not just paint would be the least of it. Sometimes you don't know what it is. And we used to get a lot of it. So we joined when the county set up a group called No-Haz, and they have like 4 or 5 cleanups a year in the summer. So you can take like your old paint cans or brick muriatic acid and stuff like that. They'll get rid of it there, but it cut a lot of it down, but we still get it because there's so many places where nobody's watching it and you just don't know who's doing it.
yeah, I mean, in the middle of the night, like you say, right in that little strip by I-75.
There's nobody there.
There's no house in that little, someone go right down there 2 in.
And dump it and you never know who it was. You're right.
Even there's like, it's from a low profile, strip, like medium duty truck. In the back of my property at the way back, it's from a medium duty, like, so it's a 8 or 10 lug wheel in tire. It's either from, that or a car carrier. It's a heavy duty truck wheel and tire.
And for all I know, those could have been there for the last 40 years.
Yeah, well, looking at I'm gonna go take the code and see what year it is. It's from the 80s.
Off the tire, yeah.
Code off, but I'm just curious. I'm a weirdo like that, but no, I mean, I take it to a tire store. Who's gonna unmount it? I can't even take it off. I mean, then you gotta separate the steel. I mean, I don't know how to get rid of it.
Well, if you
So far,
have,
it's up against the tree.
if you have your own tires you need to get rid of, you can take them to our site on the Hall Road there inside behind all those wood pallets. There's a place there where you can take your own tires, get rid of, and they'll charge you whatever the cost is for a tire at that time and the kind of tire it is. In the metal, they take in a dumpster, and Barry actually takes all that to a salvage yard, and that's how he covers the cost of the dumpster. He gets the scrap steel out of it.
So you can get a dumpster permit for don't throw
Yeah.
your stove or appliances over there with the other ones.
Yeah.
You can
And
put them in the dumpster, you can come here, get a pass, and
There's a
There's no
lady
charge.
inside the scale house there.
we keep
Okay.
a lady.
There's a lady inside the scale house there named Tammy, She's the nicest lady in the world.
Okay.
If you go in there,
Recycling
huh?
facility?
Well, there's a couple of dumpsters. One just takes kind of general junk and usually the one is full of metal, which you can take to a scrap iron guy. But if you happen to have something, you've got to throw it in the dumpster yourself. So if you got something like an old stove, you can't hike it up I can't hike it up 6 feet. If you stop and ask Tammy, usually she'll let you set it down next to the dumpster. And then when they get a chance, one of Barry's loaders will come by, pick it up and dump it in.
Okay,
You do have to pay for tax.
But you do have to
Yes,
pay for
but
tires because
not
he's
for
got to pay to get
stoves.
rid of them.
yeah. If it's a tire with a wheel, Can you take it? It's okay?
Yeah, I think he'll just take the tire and probably chuck it into the guy that he pays to get rid of the tire, I think. I've never had him say no on it, but I'm aware.
Okay. And I pay via the office here? Or no?
You pay the gal right at the scale house, Tammy.
Get a permit here and then go over there.
Yeah, the permits are
Okay.
free. Tammy's name is on the permit and that's who
Okay.
you pay for the tire. Because it's just to pay Barry for what he has to pay to get rid of the tire.
Yeah.
I think the only thing they won't take is big tractor tires.
Yeah, all right, I'll do that. I'll come in one day during the day and get a permit.
And you can get,
That one
if you
is
want, one a
back in my
month.
yard.
I mean, they.
Yeah.
The only reason we don't give more of them when we started this, because no good deed goes unpunished. There's about a half a dozen guys in the township that clean up people's property for them.
And then
So when we first started this, a couple of them took all their junk from the jobs they were cleaning up to the dumpster and they'd fill it up in a day. Now nobody else could clean out their garage or anything, and they were using it to offset their commercial costs. So that's why we started, yeah, that's why we started the permits. You get one a month per household. And it's not for commercial dumping, it's to clean out your barn or yard or whatever.
Yeah, your own place.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, not making money off.
No, it's really because Barry's a great corporate citizen and lets us do it.
So who's the guy, Barry?
Barry, yeah, he owns Bedrock Express on M15,
Okay,
and he's also the fellow that leases the township's property
okay,
and where the wood pallets are that he grinds up and that stuff.
okay.
And he takes the trees, I think, in the wood is all free if you want to take it there, he grinds that.
That's
Okay.
right. That's the place I think I got. Is that a landscape supply?
Yeah.
That's the place I just got 5 yards of topsoil.
Yep, that's him.
Yeah, all right. Well, nice to meet you all.
Yep, same here. Thank you
Trying
for
to put
coming.
Another one of these. No, I mean, somebody, when I was here for the tax meeting, said, why don't you come back and stay? Maybe it was you. Said we have a township meeting, and I couldn't. I had somebody come into my house that night.
Uh-huh.
And ever since then, I've been trying to get to one of these, to just see what it's like. Because I'm on the distribution for the agendas and the minutes.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There's
They're
not
once a month.
everything on there that you hear in the meeting.
Mhm.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna make a motion that we adjourn the fire board meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Don't tell me all that shit in the minutes.
All in favor?
Meeting.
Say aye. Aye. Okay, we're adjourned. Thanks.